Hello everyone, Ember here, and welcome back to a new video. In this one, I would like to take a look at some upcoming Typhlosion decks from the set Destined Rivals. So, Typhlosion, for those of you who don't know, is a 170 HP Stage 2 single prize Pokemon. Has 2 attacks. Steam Artillery is definitely the weaker of the two, so really don't need to worry about that one. But Buddy Blast is where things get interesting. It does 40 damage and then 60 more damage for each Ethan's Adventure card in your discard pile. So the most damage you'll ever do with this card is 280, which to be honest is still really solid for a single prize Pokemon. And you'll of course be able to use things like Karate Master or Maximum Belt or even Defiance Band if you want an extra damage boost. But still, to be honest, 280 is a lot for a single prize Pokemon to be doing. So Ethan's Adventure is a supporter card that says search your deck for up to 3 in any combination of Ethan's Pokemon and basic Foundry, reveal them and put them into your hand. And because Ethan's Typhlosion only needs a single Foundry, typically you'll be able to use Ethan's Adventure to basically get other Typhlosion, Quaxlava, and maybe even Cyndaquil as well, which is really helpful. So Ethan's Quilava also has a useful ability on top of all of this, which is Adventure Bound, which says once in your turn you may search your deck for an Ethan's Adventure, reveal it, and put it into your hand, then shuffle your deck. So a really nice ability to have, to be honest. So yeah, very strong. Also, we've got the new Shaman coming out, which has the ability Flower Curtain, which will prevent all damage done to your bench Pokemon by attacks used by your opponent's Pokemon. Which, it won't protect you from Dragapult, which is kind of a shame, but it will still protect you from, just generic spread damage, like Greninja, for example. So, Shaman's still a very fun addition for single prize decks and quite important moving forward, really. So, that's cool. So, as for this first list, keeping things nice and simple, this is mainly a single prize build, though it does run one copy of Pheasantipity. If you're just starting out in the game and Pheasantipity was maybe a bit too expensive for you, that's no problem. Like, I think you could very easily modify this list slightly to be a bit cheaper. Maybe add in something like a Tatsugiri, perhaps, and an escape board. Or, not a skateboard, sorry. I keep getting all the boards mixed up. It's the new board, basically, the one that gives you -1 retreat cost. But yeah, that's kind of the deck in a nutshell. Very simple, very easy to play. Got one copy of Budew here just for some early stall potential. But honestly, you might want to use TM Evolution a lot as well, just because that Quilava's ability is very, very strong. Like, getting all the Ethan's Adventure out the deck is really crucial. So, a very strong effect. I would also maybe add an exchange ticket, or maybe think about adding one, just because if you prize an Ethan supporter, and it's one of the last prize cards, you're not really going to draw it until later on the game, then that could be a worthy inclusion just to make sure you have all 4 Ethan supporters in your deck. But yeah, the deck's also playing things like Pokegear to allow you to track down those supporters, Maximum Belt for a damage boost, Lana's Aid, basically like the reverse Ethan's Adventure, I guess, but from the discard pile. Also got the new Team Rocket Stadium in the bottom right there, which basically just turns off abilities on colorless Pokemon. So things like Squawkabilly and what's it called? I'm drawing a blank here. Dunsparce, that's another big one. But like Rotom's actually pretty big. So yeah, pretty strong stadium there. Also 6 basic Fire and G because, to be fair, you only attack for 1 energy. So, don't need much. But yeah, looks like a very solid, fun budget deck overall. Then we have a more recent build actually from Japan. Now this one is a bit more teched out, playing a few more options. This one's also playing Fan Rotom. Also got a very thin Dunsparce line in here, but you could use it if you really wanted to, which is nice to see. Also got the Shaman and a new Psyduck, which does have an ability. If I remember correctly, this will basically just stop things like Dusclops and Dusknoir. I think that's the wording of Psyduck. It's basically like if something would use damage counters, or if the Pokemon would like KO itself to place damage counters, then that ability no longer works, as far as I can tell. So like, Psyduck is basically being printed as a Dusknoir counter, which is really cool. I'm not sure for certain if we will actually see Psyduck, though, in Destined Rivals. I think Psyduck is coming out at a later set, but this was like the most recent Typhlosion deck, basically, that I could find that was kind of interesting. So I thought it was worth bringing up and mentioning, even if, Psyduck is not in Destined Rivals. But still a cool list overall, and you could obviously just remove that copy and then, maybe add a second to Dunsparce or something. But yeah, this list is notably playing Exchange Ticket as well, Redeemable Ticket, apparently it's called. But yeah, that's kind of cool to see because you will want to, max out your chances of seeing all Ethan's Adventure. Also playing 4 Research, which is kind of fun to see. You don't always see Research as a prevalent draw supporter in the game. Also got Gravity Mountain to knock down HP by -30. So with a Defiance Band, actually, you will be able to KO a Charizard if you have a Gravity Mountain in play, which I think is really cool. So if you can burn through your deck quite quickly, see a lot of cards with the Dun Sparse and Research, then you'll be able to track down Gravity Mountain pretty quickly, hopefully. So yeah, seems like a fairly solid list overall. Also got this next Poison build, which, to be honest, I'm not so sold on this. Like, I get it because, like, it's an extra 40 damage plus the extra 10 from Poison. So, like, it is a huge modifier. It's definitely built around one-hit killing other Pokemon. Even got things like Perilous Jungle in here. I just think this list will be slightly more clunky than some of the other ones. And you also have Squawkabilly in here, which will obviously help you out a lot in the early game. But the thing is with Squawkabilly is it can be turned off by the new Team Rocket Stadium, which I think will see a lot of play as well. So that's just something to bear in mind for the future. But as long as you can kind of like, I guess, hope your opponent doesn't have the stadium on the first turn of the game or something, and maybe, if you go first, your opponent won't have that chance anyway. But still, something to bear in mind and consider for the future. But still a very solid list overall. I do like the idea of using a poison package. I do love Mochi. I think it's a very fun card. But at the same time, it might just be a bit clunkier than some of the other lists we've looked at today. But yeah, seems pretty cool overall. Next up is we've got kind of like a back to basics sort of build, but this one's running Gholdengo as sort of like a main attacker, and then Typhlosion is your secondary piece. So this is very much for the Gholdengo fans out there if you're looking to try out something a little bit different, or maybe, you're a huge fan of Typhlosion, but you also like Gholdengo. It's kind of cool, to be honest. I haven't played a lot of Gholdengo in this format, especially not since rotation, but honestly seems fairly solid. The spec of choice is the Energy Search Pro card, allowing you to search all those different basic energy out of the deck, which is really cool. Definitely thins things down a bit as well, so you can get to Ethan's Pokemon and Ethan's supporter really a lot faster, which is cool as well. So yeah, got Gholdengo for the early game, and then Typhlosion, I'm guessing, is like your mid to late game attacker, really, because you'll still have to find and discard all the Ethan's supporters, and this deck is also not playing any rare candy, so like you don't have any huge ways of like powering it up quickly, I guess. Like you're not playing Brilliant Blender, for example. But it is kind of cool. Like there is some smaller synergy in here, which I haven't noticed before. Like things like Earthen Vessel could help discard the supporters. Superior Energy Retrieval has great synergy here because it can discard multiple supporters while also retrieving energy for Gholdengo, which is really cool, nice to see. So definitely looks like a very fun list overall. And then I think this is the last list, but this is again a more recent one, so it does feature Psyduck. However, this does also feature Dragapult, which is kind of like a little bit of irony there because it is the like pseudo bane of single price Pokemon, I guess, right now, which is a bit sad. But still, Dragapult can be cool, and if you're a huge fan of this card, then I'm sure this list will appeal to you. So a very thick line of Typhlosion, 444, so a whopping 12, and then a 1111 line of Dragapult, but you're not playing any Psychic Energy, and you're also not playing the Sparkling Crystal A spec. So why is Dragapult EX actually in this list? Because like you can't use Phantom Dive. So like to be honest, if you're gonna like modify anything or like do anything to this list, what I would say is maybe remove the Psyduck and maybe remove a Pharangi and like add in 2 Psychic or something. Like you may as well have the ability to attack with Dragapult. Otherwise, like, are you really just playing this with Dracoloak? I don't see the use, and like Jet Headbutt only doing 70, like I don't think it's particularly great. So I'll definitely add in some Psychic Energy or something. Just give it some option to attack with Phantom Dive. But yeah, pretty interesting list overall for sure. But yeah, thanks for watching. Let me know what you think of the new Typhlosion deck down below. Do you think it's going to be a really good single price stage 2 deck like Fragator is right now? And yeah, thank you for watching.